honest, dude. I just bought at the height of the market. Things started to correct right after I bought it. And some things happened that forced me out of the house in a time that, I would have liked to have continued holding it and letting equity grow in it. And I was kind of forced to get out of the house quickly.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! All right, Mike from oh man, what the hell? Why can't I remember the Logan Paul. Oh, what's it called, man? Golly, how am I going to biff the intro like that? That's crazy. What's the name of the Logan Paul podcast? It's like, why can't I think of it right now? Impulsive. Jeez. Yeah. Golly, I just took a super L. Anyways, this is Mike from Impulsive, and he has a bunch of things. I didn't know how cracking he was because I don't really follow his content like that, but I've seen him. I always see him with like streamers and stuff like that. I knew he's the man, from being on that podcast, but I started watching this interview on this channel yesterday, which y'all should go check out. Hold on. Is this their Clips channel? Iced Coffee Hour. So this is their Clips channel, but they have a full interview on the, what's his name? Graham's channel. Iced Coffee Hour. It's bonkers. It's really good. I started watching it on the plane when I was going to Belgium. But anyway, this part I wanted to highlight because it was titled, It's Not Safe to Live in Los Angeles Anymore. And I thought that's a bold statement. I have a bunch of people, friends in LA, California, and Chicago. And a lot of the internet stuff I see will say it's not safe to live in certain environments or da-da-da-da. But then I have people, and they're really well-to-do. So sometimes I don't know if it's cap, but I heard some of this, and I just wanted to kind of replay it, go into it, and then ask some of you guys, anyone from California, how it is. Because I've been noticing, more. I live in Colorado, and I've been noticing more and more safety issues. I have a video that's going viral on this channel because there was a road rage incident, right? And I live in a nice neighborhood, right down literally 2 minutes, where a dude gets out of his car and just starts blasting what looks like a Draco on some road rage. It's crazy. It's on the channel. You can check it out. But, these type of things I'm interested in because, I want to live in I want to live in a safe environment for my children. And as I, start to maneuver, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, if y'all don't know me, I'm Black Pegasus. Like, share, comment, subscribe, link in the description of my other channels. Let's just rock. He's talking about buying his house here. We're not going to watch this whole thing, but let's see if we can get to the meat and potatoes and then have a convo.
Some things happened that forced me out of the house in a time that, I would have liked to have continued holding it and letting equity grow in it. And I was kind of forced to get out of the house quickly. And I got just rinsed on the sale.
The agent fees, basically. And did you also,
the agent fees are only
clarify that.
Yeah.
We should clarify.
Yeah.
You didn't, he's an ex-real estate agent, but you didn't clarify that this is not anything that you did that then got you kicked out of the house. Yeah, because people are going to assume that something went wrong, a neighborly dispute or.
No financial thing. I mean, I'll put it like this. At some point I'll get a little bit more granular on it, but it became a little bit of a security risk. If you don't know about what goes on in LA, if you're going to be a creator or a celebrity or an athlete that lives in a non-gated neighborhood, you probably need some pretty heavy security at the house. And even though I'm somebody who has nothing to steal, I don't, this is my watch. You know what I'm saying? Do you want my rubber band? You need to be cautious. And I wasn't as cautious as I could have been about how the home was purchased and how I shot around it and stuff like that. And it became a bit of an issue. And at some point, maybe I'll be able to tell those stories a little bit more clearly. But I was basically forced out because of the conditions of the city and just the culture out here and how things happen. And so,
yeah, for security.
So what he's alluding to is that him being a celebrity and then even creating content, people are always watching him. And as he's moved up the ranks and made a lot of money and fortune, people in the culture of LA, there's a lot of what would we call them? Robberies. There's a lot of robberies. Man, armed robbery is a big thing in LA from what I've heard. I don't live there, so I don't want to spread fake news. Y'all let me know. I think some of the stats would imply that it definitely goes on. I don't think the punishment for armed robbery is too crazy out there. I could be wrong about that as well. Y'all tap in, let me know. I don't feel like asking ChatGPT right at this second. But essentially, with popular people, entertainers, I have heard this about LA, right? We saw, what is it? There's a rapper, I forget his name. Something PMB or something like that. He got murked at a Waffle House because he had a nice chain on, and someone called in like, yo, let's go get it. You know, a lot of rappers, Pop Smoke. He got murked in like an Airbnb, or staying at like a mansion in LA. Fools found out he was staying there, ran up in that joint. That is a cultural thing where I've seen rappers, streamers, and stuff like that get robbed, killed, etc. in LA. Now, we do know that gang culture, gang culture, like LA is gang culture. So, a lot of that stuff is going on. But to hear it from him, who's not like into hip hop culture, most of the time I hear this happening to rappers. Rappers go to LA and they get got. That's just what it is. These people are following rappers who have bread, and when they come to LA, if they don't check in or have some type of connection of protection, they get got. And this is what he's talking about. And I just think that is so crazy that it stemmed to him, where literally if you don't live in a gated community, you have issues. I don't know if he's going to speak this in here, but he also said because he's a high income earner, in LA, he gets taxed at 56%. And I wanted to talk about that momentarily because I just got back from Belgium. If you're getting taxed at 56% in Belgium, if you make $49,000 a year or more, you get taxed at, I believe it is 50 to 54%. But their healthcare system and a bunch of different things the area I was in was way more safe. Again, I wasn't in the UK. I wasn't in London. I was in Antwerp, Belgium. But it was just beautiful, and everyone was healthy, and they didn't have air conditioning. But anyways, I digress. I was like, man, that's a lot of taxes just to get free healthcare. But then when I'm starting to find out people in America are getting taxed at that rate, and we're not in a system that has our healthcare system is in shambles. I thought that was kind of wild too. But let me let him talk a little bit.
Is there anything you would have done differently in the future?
There's like a whole play out of how you're supposed to defend a home, and there's deterrence, there's monitoring, there's acute safety measures. And a lot of those I did to the best of my ability, but I
imagine having to know all of that. This fool said acute safety measures because you became rich. Think about that for a second. Because you are rich at this high level, you move to a rich neighborhood, and now you have to have all these safety measures, which makes sense because you want to protect your wealth at some capacity. But it just seems so, it's like, I always envision I'm trying to get this money to get out of the hood. I'm doing this for my kids' legacy to get out of the hood. We're not in the hood, but you know what I'm saying? The concept of when I was younger, getting out of these environments. Then you're telling me I have to have a cute, oh my gosh, that's crazy, bro. But hey, man, it makes sense.
There's just only so much you can do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you in other states, there's a little bit more response and a little bit more penalty, and LA is just really the Wild West. I don't know how much time you guys spend here, but you guys see what's going on at this current time. Yeah. And we've got an extremely weak government and an extremely weak police force as a result of that government. They're kind of handcuffed, and it actually sucks to watch it. I'm talking about here in California, not as a whole. It actually sucks to see it because a lot of the cops can't really even do their job. They're handcuffed. I mean, we've had a number of over the years security issues, whether it be me, Logan, even when I was dating Lana, there was just always problems here, and the reaction time is just insanely slow. I mean, you might have someone in your house and you might wait like 30, 40 minutes for a cop to get there. It's pretty.
That's one of the things about California.
If you didn't know, he bleeped out gun. Someone could be in your house with a gun. You call the cops. It can take 35 to 40 minutes for them to get there. That's wild, man. That's wild.
California is that you can't use force on someone who breaks into your house unless your life is in immediate danger. And sometimes you don't know. If someone breaks through your front door and they're not armed, how do you know that? If it's at 3 o'clock in the morning and they seem deranged, how do you make those decisions of whether or not you defend yourself? And if you do, then there's so many risks that come with that as well.
So like, as someone who obviously has had to like study that playbook like in and out and was very, very fluent in it in my last living arrangement, if someone uses some level of significant force to enter your home in the middle of the night, I think even in California that they have produced enough for an assumption of bodily harm. So if someone, I don't know, smashes through your back door and has a mask on and you don't know what's in their hand, I believe, and some legal person will check this out for me, that you have justified capability to use force on them at that time, whether or not they have a weapon, because they've used force entry to get into your home. You have reasonable assumption of risk. Now, the difference in California is, man, if that dude does a quick turn and you get him in the back, you have a major problem. And so that's really where the issue in non-stand your ground states, right? Is like, dude, if somebody can even make an attempt at saying that they were trying to flee or retreat, is the legal term, you're in trouble, so.
Yeah, and the problem is virtually everybody doesn't know that small nuance
So they go into depth here. But some of the things I wanted to highlight, because he's a content creator, he's not gang affiliated. He's not a troublemaker. He's not this. He's just a dude who's been very, very successful in his plight of content creation, and also, his endeavors in, getting sponsorships and, advertising dollars, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's super, super successful, and he's a target just because he's in Los Angeles and has that success. Now, some people are bigger targets than others because of their celebrity. Right, there's going to be these underground like tech giants who have billions of dollars, and people just ain't never going to know, and they never have an issue. The more popular you are out there in the public eye, the more of a target you become. So that's an issue here. My question is to anyone who lives in Los Angeles, California, anything of the culture out there, what of this is hearing it from him firsthand? I'm just like, yo, this is legit. This happened to him. I believe him. Is this happening all the time? We had a good friend, or we have a good friend. He is an elite athlete. He lived in Beverly Hills in a gated community. That's actually where I proposed to my wife. We stayed at his house, and I proposed to her there because it's an amazing place. And I felt fine. But then again, I had to remember it was a gated community. Getting in was wild. I remember I was like, yo, and then when you get in, you drive in all through it, dude, it was crazy. So I'm guessing that's what he's saying you have to have some relative safety measure. And I'm like, that's just because California is so gorgeous. It's one of the only places with mountains that have snow and ocean, in America, right? And maybe I'm tripping. I don't, but I'm just saying the way California is laid out, it is one of the most amazing states aesthetically. But then when you go there, like, things are just on the rise, the homeless, the crazy street stuff. It seems like, I don't know if violent crime is up, but it just seemed like a lot of things have hit the fan over there. And this is from someone who's toured America and always would go to Hollywood to perform, right? I remember playing the House of Blues out there and a bunch of different stuff. And I haven't been there in a long time. So that's why I was watching this, because I was like, that's a crazy title. It's not safe to live in Los Angeles. Sheesh. That's a crazy title. Anyways, you guys let me know. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.
City boy, city boy.